What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here in the cave, getting ready to start this week off right, but you're already hearing a lot of news with free agency. So before we get rolling into it, if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up, hit that like, hit the alert bell because you know we may be coming in the cave or outside the cave at a moment's notice. So you definitely do not want to miss it. So we're going to have a live show tonight. We'll be getting into a lot of news that I'm sure that's going to be happening today. But the free agency frenzy is kind of getting started already with some trades. So you see Pittsburgh making moves. You saw the Rams, getting Devontae Adams. Obviously Pittsburgh getting Metcalf. Myles Garrett, the rumor mill, he was unhappy in Cleveland, but all it takes is about $40 million a year, a bunch of guaranteed money, and all of a sudden you love it again. So that's what you're going to see. So with the Cowboys, do we expect to get a lot of news from them? No. I think their approach, if they want to win and they want to get this thing right, is they need to be surgical in what they do. They don't need to go out. They're never going to be the team to go out and get a bunch of splash free agents. At least I don't think they will. But what they can do is be very surgical in what they need. And to me, you can go out and get defensive tackle. I know they signed Osa, but there's some good defensive tackles out there that you can get some value on. I would be looking at that position. Linebacker, another position. Obviously, they re-signed Wanye Thomas. They re-signed Marquise Bell, so not sure what they're going to do at safety. You got to think Donovan Wilson's probably gone. Malik Hooker, see what happens there. But if they see a safety, a veteran safety, go address that. The offensive line, talked about it. I like the offensive line. I don't know. Maybe I'm one of the few that actually is into this offensive line. I think they're young. I think they need time to. They got better as the year went on, playing together and getting more cohesive. So I think the question mark will be Guyton. Does he make that jump, that second year jump? It was a lot to ask for him to be a left tackle his rookie year. Made some mistakes, but also, he showed flashes too. So you got to think he's going to make a jump. And if he does, obviously Steele is kind of the question mark, but he again got better as the year went on. So you don't need a Pro Bowler and All Pro at every position, but you need some guys that are stable. You need some guys that at least can get the job done for the most part. And I think they've got that. But I would get a veteran, either swing tackle, guard. I get an offensive lineman in free agency. Running back, I've said it a million times. I think they address it in the draft. I'll be beyond frustrated if they don't get a running back within the first 3 rounds. This is probably one of the best running back draft classes you've seen in a long time. There's a lot of playmakers that you can get in the 3rd round. Us not having a 4th rounder kind of, it makes it more urgent not to wait to the 5th round. But there's a lot of running backs that you can get in the first 3 rounds. So I'd love to see the Cowboys attack that. Wide receiver, love to give a wide receiver early or trade back if they think they can get their guy a little bit later and maybe try and get that 4th round pick back. Edge rusher, cornerback. This draft needs to be, I've said it a million times if you follow the channel, it needs to be playmakers. But the free agency is where we get our meat and potatoes. That's where we're going to get our interior linemen. That's where we can get our linebackers. That's where we can get our offensive line depth. That's what I want to see. I don't see the Cowboys overpaying for a veteran wide receiver, but if you can get a receiver in here that's a veteran at a fair price, I would go get that. But I'm still drafting a receiver. I'm still trying to get someone who could take the pressure to where it's CeeDee Lamb is kind of like our only playmaker on offense. We've got to get other guys on this team that could make big plays. Obviously, Turpin is another playmaker, but he's not a guy that you're going to be out. He's not going to be on the field, 50 snaps a game. He's one of those 12 snaps on offense, maybe get him 15, let him be, 3 or 4 impactful plays. That's what I see with Turpin, but his role definitely should increase. So going to see what happens, man. It's going to see what happens. Going to see where some of these quarterbacks go. If you're just talking within our division, Aaron Rodgers is being talked a lot in New York. I'm curious to see how that works out. I don't know. I know the Giants are desperate. Their coaching staff is pretty much on on a 1-year deal. If they don't get it done, that I think the general manager, all of them from the top down, are going to be gone. But you wonder, the veterans that are moving around, how does that impact the rookies, in particular Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders? The Giants, I think, were into Shedeur. If they go get Aaron Rodgers, would they still draft Shedeur, or would they try and get a playmaker to help out that offense for Aaron Rodgers? Because they pretty much have, Malik Neighbors and nobody else. So I think this week with free agency, with some of the trades, it's going to shake up the draft. It's going to shake up the draft a little bit. You may see guys that you thought were going to be up the ladder slide down. And you may see some guys you're like, man, we might be able to get them. They may fall because the quarterbacks are going to go early, because they're running back, because of receivers, or whatever else it may be. You may see that change as well. So this week is really important, because I think after you get that full week of free agency, now you can start doing them mock drafts. Right now we've been doing them mock drafts for fun. I think they're great. I think it's definitely interactive. Get your mind thinking. Get you excited for the season. But I think after this first round of free agency, once you get the big names out of the way, that's really going to dictate some of the changes that you're going to see in the draft class. So it's going to be exciting. Going to be live tonight. 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central, or it might be a little bit later. I just got to see how my schedule goes. But be on the lookout, and that's why you want to hit that alert bell, and that's why you want to subscribe. And more importantly, hit that like button. Let me know your thoughts. What free agents do you want to see? Now, we don't want no pipe dreams, but realistically, looking at this roster and looking at the areas that they need to fill and understand, we're going to lose some players too. What are some of the names that you want to see the Cowboys bringing in? I'll just tell you, I want guys that have been on championship teams. I want guys that can help change the culture of this team. So you're looking for some more leaders. Some dogs, some alpha dogs. I want to see that on both sides of the football. Like I said, if they were able to get a Cooper Kupp, if they were able to get a veteran receiver that they can slide in here to give some consistency, I'd like it. I know Brandon Cooks came out, said he's open to come back. Didn't feel he was used properly in Dallas. Can't disagree. He's a stretch the field kind of guy, and you really didn't see that much. I would say in the defense of a lot of it is you didn't have Dak Prescott all of last year. And I think if you looked at Brandon Cooks last year at, the middle end of the year, he started really finding his way into the offense and was having some games. But this past season with Dak getting hurt, it was kind of a mess from the start. Never really got a chance to get things going. So I don't know about Brandon Cooks. One guy that I like as an option would be Tyler Lockett. I think he could still stretch the field. Has a knack for making big plays. He's going to be your third receiver. He's not a guy that you want to put at your two. Whatever they do, I want them to get a number 2 receiver in the draft. But he's one of those guys, I've always liked him. He's always making plays, always making big plays. So that's a name that, keep an eye on. On the defensive side, I'm looking at defensive tackle. I'm looking at edge rusher. I know, the big name, if they were going to get one, you could see like Khalil Mack. I don't think Cowboys would spend the money, but Eberflus, is familiar with Khalil Mack. So you always kind of look at the coordinators and say, okay, who was in a certain spot. Hernandez, the guard who was with the Giants, I believe was with the Cardinals last year. That's a name that there's some familiarity. So you start looking at some of this stuff, and those are the kind of guys that you're going to look out for. But like I said, I think the Cowboys have an opportunity. They freed up a lot of money. If they don't spend any of this money that they freed up, really going to be pissed. You're going to redo Micah. And I think you could structure the Micah contract where if you needed more money this year, you can open that up, or you can kind of front load some of it to give you more options as the years go on. So they've got plenty of things that they can do. It's a matter of will Jerry, Steven, and the rest of the crew do it? That's the million-dollar question that Cowboys fans ask themselves and each other every single day. So we're going to figure it out. It's going to be a lot of fun this week. Hopefully the Cowboys are involved in some aspect, but like I said, I don't think it's going to be any major moves, but hopefully they're very surgical, very strategic, and moves that can help get this team over the hump. Because like I said, the core is here. You have the core stars. You got your Micah Parsons. You're not going to get another Micah Parsons edge rusher. So you're either going to get a guy a little bit older or maybe a guy that's just waiting for that opportunity. Plus, they've got some guys on the roster I'd like them to see them bring back too on the defensive line. So you're going to get that. You got CeeDee Lamb. You weren't going to go get, Devontae Adams along with CeeDee Lamb on that big contract, sign another big contract, but maybe a Cooper Kupp, maybe a Tyler Lockett, maybe one of those types of receivers, possibly bring Brandon Cooks back. I would like to see some fresh faces personally. I think you've kind of run this. If they can bring in some other guys from other teams, Cooper Kupp, Super Bowl MVP, been there, done that. That would be kind of a cool name, and someone who's been in the battles, because I think that's where the Cowboys need some veteran guys that have been to the mountaintop, and it just kind of helped change the mentality and the culture of this team. So we'll see what happens. We're going to be talking about it tonight, so be on the lookout. Look for that alert to come up. Hit that subscribe, like, share. Appreciate it, Cowboys Nation. Enjoy the Monday. Make sure you got your radio on, TV on, whatever it is, because I'm sure there's going to be a lot of news breaking as we get rolling. Now they can start that tampering time. They'll be starting that today, and this week should be a fun week. So we'll be seeing you. Make sure you hang out in the cave because we'll be having a good time. And again, special shout-outs to my man Cuts by Jones. Make sure you check out his YouTube channel, Culture of Cuts. He had Frankie, our man Frankie there, all the way from Germany. You want to talk about passionate Cowboy fans. You talk about fans that flying in from across the world to support their team. They deserve a lot better than what we saw last year. So hopefully, like I said, this year was a wake-up call. Maybe the Eagles win in the Super Bowl. Washington getting better. Maybe this is what the doctor ordered to get Jerry and the crew off their ass and start realizing a sense of urgency. The old way that they've been doing it for the last 30 years hasn't worked. They've got to be active in free agency. They don't have to be the huge spenders, but they got to be very specific and very surgical in what they do. So hopefully that'll happen. But until then, we'll be talking about it. So Cowboys Nation, have a great day. Hopefully I'll see you tonight live on our live show. Take care. See you.